Hello and welcome back to Spekd. Today we'll be looking at Warhammer Conquest issue number 8. And to start with, we'll take a look at the models. I've heard some complaints about this model. People have said that it's kind of damaged or it's not the right plastic or what have you. To be perfectly honest, comparing these to the previous Primaris models, they look good. They've done a good job. It's the first multi-part sprue, which we get to see, and I haven't got any issues or problems with these. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, let's take a closer look at the magazine. First impressions. This time G-Dub has done a really nice job on colour combinations. They're really nice and warm, especially for this time of year, but also it highlights a lot of work there. Now, we are seeing on the front cover some colours that we're not using on our models or that we don't have yet, but if you started in the beginning with myself and collecting, you would already have those colours that you can mix up and use yourself. And I like to find out basically how you're also getting on, because I talk about the magazine quite a bit, but if in the comments you can tell me how you're getting on, if you're still collecting the magazine or if you're stopped at this moment in time, because I really don't know. But if you're still collecting, and even if you stop at this point, this would be fantastic for kill teams, and I'll be talking about that. I keep saying this very soon, but I've got my bits come through, and even commanders. I didn't want to just rush into it. But anyway, let's have a look. So we have our contents, as always. We're getting to look at librarians, what they do, having a look at new types of weapons again, and I like the way that they're always introducing new weapons. It's fantastic for this gameplay. If you have missed out on any issues, you can order this. Or better yet, I mean, you can buy the First Strike box set to get to this point. Let's look at new combat, new missions. All right, let's go. I think, again, by this point, you would have decided if you and your friend are playing this, or even if you was collecting this on your own, whether you're going to play this as a game or go out and buy pieces yourself. So that means you're either into 40k and playing currently, or building your first army. Now, the transition between having a few models and building your army can be quite daunting. So that's why I do keep recommending Kill Team. That's the third time I've said that. I want to do that video right after this anyway. Okay, so we're having a look at the might of the Psyker. A Psyker is someone with amazing psychic powers, connections to warp, but they'll explain that more here. And it allows you to have an extra turn of action and options. It can be really handy. They have defensive and offensive capabilities. It's like having an extra phase. And if you're new to this, it's like having an extra shooting phase or an extra defense phase. Okay. We've got weapons. They discuss the equipment of Psykers, why they use them. I like that. I like that a lot. That's very stylish and very cool. Okay. And I've got an idea for a narrative base that will go for this model, which I'll set up for another video for the narrative bases. Sorry. Okay, let's focus. A lovely look at weapons there. False weapons. They're talking about ranks of librarians. Their training processes. I like this. I like this a lot. Okay. Right. So the main part of this, how to build. This is a dual sprue even model, which is I think one of the first we've actually seen, and it may seem daunting, but it's not. If you just stick with the numbers which are there, I mean, I know it's not your first build, it should be fine. If you're being if you pre-ordered your magazines, which will be arriving in bundles, you would have already received glue, and you'll have a plastic glue to put this together. If not, get down to the local store, pick up some plastic glue, save yourself a couple of pence. Clipping is the same, putting the models together. Now, there are some sections here, which are like the piping and the purity seals, which can be slightly tricky. Just make sure you take your time and put those in. They're a little bit fiddly. If you can get your hand on a pair of tweezers, that could work as well. Okay. There's more builds. So looking at the painting instructions, they're starting out with a blue. Again, if you're painting this however you want. I normally do paint mine in a universal colour for my librarians, and it's more like Death Watch looking colours, because then I can use them pretty much for any army. I've got the golds. They're looking at the washes here, and you can see the detail coming in once it's been washed. A very nice reminder. And washes always work great on tubes and pipes. Right, your Bugman's Glow. You may wonder why I haven't got the previous issue mentioned. I haven't got it to hand yet. I actually went to the store to buy this. I think I mentioned that already. So just in case you're wondering, well, did I miss a video? No, I haven't put that video up. We discussed the effects of washes, and we did that in one of the first videos. Psychic Might. So we're having quite a few models versus just the librarian on their own. And that's interesting. Yeah, they keep using the same mat, and that's starting to get to me. I really think that issue with the Death Guard, again, they could have just chucked in another mat just for a bit of variation. But again, if you're out and about, you can pick up mats. You can make your own mat. You know, if you want me to show you how I make my own mats, just put it in the comments below and I'll go through that. Otherwise, you can pretty much put one together using the base building that we've used, techniques. So they're talking about adding a phase here. We can see the psychic phase has been added. We've got the spec card for them. So we see stats, how to use a psychic phase. It's talking about line of sight for a lot of the powers, and that's fine. They're talking about tests, perils of the walk, and that's brilliant. So that will bring you in quite nicely. Resolving psychic powers, more storyline. And this is the extra play rules. Now this is the part where it always gets interesting for me, because if you're kind of already in the know and you've already been playing this for a while, you've gotten used to the tactics that they're giving you, but they never fully give you all of the information, and it's like they drip feed you this information. So if you're kind of building and playing along as you go with you and your buddy, or you know, if you're doing this yourself, you get this additional info, and really they should have this on the cards right away. But it kind of gives it a little bit more interest, and once you've mastered these rules during that week, I mean, the next issue comes out with a bit more. Now, as I said, if you've mastered the basic rules to this point, Kill Team is your next point of call. If you want to kind of reserve your money and not move too heavily into kind of investing in a 40k army right away, because they can be expensive, and we're obviously trying to save costs. And talking of saving costs, we've got Pox Walkers here for the next issue, and that runs, you know, relatively the same as before, as you can see. But these Blight launchers, I believe they're called, yeah, this is good value again for that $7.99, and it is your first vehicle, and it's worth getting a few of these. So if you can, get your pre-order on, tell your shopkeeper to get them in and pick these up. But again, I mean, $7.99 for a leader type character for Kill Team or a Primaris model, that's just fantastic. So if they're still on the shelf and they haven't all been taken yet, grab yourself a copy. Okay, and that alarm there is for you to get yourself a copy. Okay, well, thank you very much for your time as always. I will paint up this model, put it on a base, and I'll show you that on my next narrative basis, where I'll tell my Psyker story of his amazing power. You know, that'd be great. But like, comment, share, and subscribe. And as always, it's been Spekd. PC out.